also the Presidential Medal of Freedom, also the op-ed by President Biden that came up today. But you were talking about the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the message being sent in terms of giving George Soros, who some say, a lot of law enforcement, a lot of military say is responsible for a large part of the crime that is breaking out in a lot of our major cities. He personally funding a lot of the progressive prosecutors and a lot of the progressive lawmakers that are putting in these policies that the American people have said, no more, no way. We want to live in safer neighborhoods. Every child, every family deserves to live in a safe neighborhood. You can pick up where you start.
That's exactly right. And I think that's the main, when you think of somebody like George Soros, who, to be clear, he's not responsible for all the crime that is happening,
right,
but he is responsible for promoting this rogue prosecutor movement that by not pursuing charges against certain crimes has emboldened criminals across the country in a way that really makes people both feel and actually be unsafe. Many of these situations, by the way, these skyrocketing crime rates are causing harm to the very communities that people like George Soros claim that they want to help. Inner city minority communities that suffer from this increased crime wave. But what we also saw in this administration, and what my forthcoming book, The Woktopus, The Dark Money Cabal Manipulating the Federal Government, reveals, is that donors like George Soros, and by the way, his Open Society Foundations is now being run by Alex Soros, who was his son who accepted the Presidential Medal of Freedom on his behalf this past weekend. But these groups are propping up a vast system of woke nonprofits that are staffing and advising the federal bureaucracy that often are able to get their ideology and their agenda implemented into regulations without Congress passing any law. And of course, there are more regulations every year than Congress passes laws. And their presence in the bureaucracy is not going to go away on January 1st. President Trump has talked a great deal about how a deep state opposed his agenda in his first 4 years. And it's gearing up that many of these bureaucrats want to burrow in the administration, and they are going to oppose the people's elected president from within. So I'm really glad to see this peaceful transition of power today. But I don't think that this represents the end of that transition. And I think that in order to have the real transition that has to happen, Trump has to root out some of these woke bureaucrats from the administrative system.
Subscribe to get the news the legacy media won't tell you and only the Daily Signal can bring to you.